Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Barry Coombs from Computer World. We're creating a short video for the Define Tomorrow blog today, and I'm joined by David Cumberworth of Atlantis Computing. David is VP of Worldwide Sales for Atlantis, and you're based out of London, David.
Correct.
Fantastic. So today we just wanted to talk about the announcements that have happened in the last week with regard to Dell. As a Dell Premier Party from Computer World's perspective, Dell have been missing out on a fantastic opportunity of working with yourselves with regard to hyperscale, so it's fantastic to see some movement on that now. And also some other exciting announcements for both Dell and Atlantis, where I think Dell have come first to the table with one of your newer platforms. So maybe you could expand on that, starting with the relationship with Dell and what that means from Atlantis' perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for inviting me, Barry. Great to be here and great to speak to you again. The Dell, just a little bit of background. Our position with hyperscale, we have a lot of flexibility in terms of the way we go to market, and from my perspective and from our field's perspective, the main brand that was missing from our go-to-market around hyperscale was Dell. Based on market share and also based on their strength in the mid-market space, which is really where we see hyperscale being a very, very good fit based on the user profile and customer profile. So we announced a release of all our hyperscale appliances, so that being the CX4, CX12 and CX24 appliances 2 weeks ago now. And for this conversation, we'll focus specifically around the CX4, as that's our main market launch with Dell. So we've actually had a very strong relationship with Dell focused around workspace over the last 4 years, and have had some pretty significant wins around VDI, XenApp type deployments. And there are some relatively detailed white papers and significant wins in the workspace infrastructure environment. But this really takes our broader market play around hyperconvergence with Dell to a far larger and far broader market. And as I say, the announcement was specifically around our CX4 platform, or focused specifically on our CX4 platform, which is a 4 terabyte 2U appliance.
Sure.
So the benefit of the Dell Atlantis Robo solution, as we call it, so remote office, branch office, micro data center solution, is relatively straightforward. So we believe we have the lowest cost, highest performance platform on the market, alongside Dell. So circa 50% lower cost than the alternate platforms out there. It's an all-flash appliance, so performance is almost a given. And the way we being Atlantis, the way we're using memory as a performance tier ensures that we are giving the highest possible performance in the market as well.
So with it being a robo solution, what kind of size businesses does it suit? How many users would you get on a CX4 platform?
It really depends on the user profile, obviously. Now, if we're talking workspace, VDI, anywhere between 100 to 500, really, depending on the user profile, etc. This is a 4 terabyte appliance, though, Barry. So we're selling in terms of storage capacity as opposed to user density if we're talking workspace. But typically what we see is the performance barriers are often the inhibitor behind organizations to being able to put significant users or applications on that platform. The fact, as I said, we're leveraging RAM and all flash means that the I/O or performance bottleneck is removed with the Atlantis HyperScale appliance.
So with it being converged in that way, would it be suitable in a branch office to put maybe a file server, domain controller on there as well as the users to mix both those use cases together on the small platform?
Absolutely. I mean, if we look or take a snapshot today of the typical remote office, branch office type architecture, the choices are relatively limited. We have a server plus direct attached storage type architecture, server plus SAN or NAS type architecture, server with some kind of virtual storage array, or hyperconvergence. The beauty of hyperconvergence is that we are collapsing the infrastructure requirements into a single box. So the support in our world, the simplicity of that is almost a given. So it's perfect for the remote office, branch office, and frankly, the reason we launched the CX4 alongside Dell was just the customer push. The customer pull rather, for this kind of size footprint for those solutions. And I said, based on the alternates are relatively bloated, relatively complex, have either challenges around replication, challenges around the management and the management overheads based on its compute, networking, and storage as opposed to a single box, or challenges around cost. So what we have with a hyperconverged appliance in the CX4 is simple, high performance, and very, very easy to manage and provide replication.
Fantastic. And I think that's the important point. We've seen either very small organizations or branch offices try and use smaller components that you may find in a data center before, but generally you are going to suffer somewhere where you don't get the performance that you want. The users are going to suffer either from an application perspective, or if you're trying to do VDI or RDA-based sessions, they're not going to get the performance that they would expect out of a laptop device in front of them. So it's nice to be able to bring those together. You're also not saying they need to buy an Atlantis piece of hardware. They trust Dell. They're using Dell maybe in their main head office, so they can still use Dell. They're just able to use the power of your platform to deliver that performance and deliver the capacity of data onto a smaller platform.
Absolutely. Particularly, as you said, Barry, particularly around workspace. Workspace has always been, or the biggest challenge around workspace / i.e. VDI or ZApp has been the I/O issue. Our all-flash appliance just makes that go away, frankly. So we can effectively guarantee a level of performance to the end user that our competitors just can't get anywhere near at a similar price point. So that performance thing it disappears. The central control is central management rather is a very, very big requirement for hyperconvergence and robo-type solutions. Typically, a remote office, branch office doesn't have IT staff. If it does have IT staff, they have to be multi-purpose. They're PC support guys, they're networking guys, they are infrastructure guys. So they don't have the ability to manage multiple platforms. So we are giving very, very simple central management technology as part of this hyperscale box. And I say performance and capacity is kind of a given.
And with the relationship with Dell, is it similar to you've got with some other organizations, I believe, where there's one point of contact in terms of supporting the hardware and software on that platform?
Correct. So Atlantis will be the single interface for support. Okay. So that could be, an issue with the underlying hardware itself, an issue with the hypervisor, or the Atlantis technology. So we will be this single interface for support. We will broker and hand off any calls to Dell if need be, to VMware, to Citrix, etc., etc.
Fantastic. And I suppose you also get the benefits of it being on a Dell platform. So if you've got a larger Dell estate and you're using things like iDRAC and OpenManage that are built into the underlying platform that you use, then there should be no reason why those tools couldn't be used with the CX4 upon Dell.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So I understand also from a Dell perspective that their platform is quite unique. So they're using a piece of hardware called the FX2, and the 10 gigabit switching can be included inside that as well. I don't know if that's an area that you're able to.
It can, and it's from our perspective, it is one of the the very, very attractive things with the Dell partnership was. A requirement of ours is is 10 gig networking behind the hyperconverged appliance. The fact that the appliance, the Dell appliance, ships with inbuilt networking just negates the need for that end user to have to go out and buy a dedicated 10 gig infrastructure. Again, when you take that requirement to a robo type end user, it's a big overhead. So the fact that the Dell box ships with networking integrated is just makes it a very, very attractive solution.
Definitely, and that was really important to me, because when I'm dealing with those customers, they probably don't have 10 gig in the kind of core in their head office, let alone trying to do that at the branch offices. So to make that kind of one very easy package to buy, where it's also sort of tried and tested by yourselves and Dell. We know this is a platform that works. We're not just trying to. Obviously, lots of people have been working with your technology for a long time, and it's fantastic technology. But you almost had to test it to see how it worked for you. With this kind of package solution, you kind of know the sum of parts together has been tried, tested, supported. And that you're able to kind of make use of it in one bundle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. So it's exciting times for Atlantis then. Was Dell the last piece of the puzzle in terms of major manufacturing?
On a personal note, I've got a huge amount of time for Dell. I think their go-to-market, their market presence, particularly in the mid-market, particularly in the kind of space that is really suited to hyperscale, as I said earlier, really gives us a fantastic opportunity to go to market jointly with Dell and really open up a lot more of those mid-market type environments. And then we specifically around the healthcare and federal markets, Dell have a very, very strong footprint there. So taking the best of breed hyperconverged technology that Atlantis offer, together with the existing market footprint and presence that Dell have, I think really do create a unique go-to-market. And I think from our partners, for our end users, gives us a very exciting
Fantastic. I mean, certainly from my perspective, obviously been working for a Dell partner for a long time now. You've been able to see, certainly within the last year, their openness to be able to working with other vendors to make sure that they're including other vendors in their overall solutions. They're no longer Dell just trying to tell you one storage platform. Obviously, we've now seen with the potential acquisition of EMC that they're opening that piece massively, and what is important to them is to be able to be the person that can deliver the solution to their customers. So I think this is great for me. We've been using Atlantis here for a long time to some fantastic success. We've been having to kind of design our own Atlantis solutions. This also means now that we're able to go out there and do some off-the-shelf solutions for some of our customers where that's fit, or equally still use USX and design that. So I'm really pleased to see it come in.
We're getting some very interesting, particularly in the larger enterprise, actually, very interesting architectural discussions at the moment, where we are providing a CX4 for a relatively low footprint type robo environment, but then using USX back at the core.
Okay.
So using, for instance, and it was just as you chatted about the Dell EMC acquisition, we've got large enterprises with currently, either very, and this is typical actually, very bloated SAN type solutions at the branches, some form of EMC storage or NetApp storage, etc. Hugely overspec'd, and then using replication to replicate back to site. We're now using the combination of HCI or CX4 at the remote sites, and then using our replication or VMware or whatever underlying replication back to USX at the core.
So I suppose the benefit from your perspective is that's already deduplicated. So when you're replicating it, it's a lot skinnier than trying to replicate it at a pure block level.
Exactly. So it's deduped. Obviously, we're using caching in RAM, so we're not having to drag content across the all the hot blocks are stored in the local appliance. But we're basically allowing organizations to to get efficiencies both at the branch and now using SDS, USX SDS back at the core.
Thank you ever so much for your time today, and
no worries, Barry.
Really excited to be able to get my hands on the first CX4 and see what it's actually like.
Look forward to the feedback. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.